broadcasting on the DVC to all points unknown. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're listening to Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Hello and welcome home. Thank you for joining us on episode 50 of Welcome Home, a Disney Parks and Vacation Club podcast. I'm Tom, I've got Trevor, and we have a very special guest today.
That kind of hurts my feelings. Wow.
Just kidding.
Wow.
Just kidding. We finally got Damon back for at least today.
At least today. So does everyone know where I was? I'm sitting, as my new house is being built at my parents' house with Ethernet wires across like 5 rooms and nowhere to actually talk. Like, today we might get some barking dogs, we might get some kids. We don't know what we're gonna get, but
well, at least we got you back, so we're happy to have you back. I mean, it's been Trevor and I running wild for
and what's interesting is that, and it's fine because I still listen. I still look at the stuff that goes on and I go, yeah, that's okay. Like, I could skip that one. No disrespect, no disrespect to Trevor's trip, but like, I can always talk to Trevor on the side and ask him about his trip, right? That's okay with me.
Yeah.
But then they started delving into some food at Star Wars and Star Wars stuff, and I was like, no, I'm gonna have an opinion that differs from them. I need to get on and make sure that our listeners know that it's just not the Tom and Trevor show. That there's other opinions out there.
Plus, it's episode 50. It's episode 50.
And I didn't want to miss episode 50. I was going to make you guys go 49.3 if I couldn't attend tonight.
49 and a half, 49B.
We could drag this out another 6 months if we needed to.
Yeah. Exactly.
Just take a hiatus.
But first of all, so 50 episodes.
It's crazy, right?
Wow.
I don't
can't.
think...
Yeah,
I don't think we ever thought we'd get to like 10 episodes, let alone 50 episodes.
Yeah,
I don't know. I had more faith. I had more faith in you guys. I felt like this is where we would be. But it feels like just yesterday we started this thing. Though, right? That I would agree with. I can't believe that because 50 episodes. Every 2 weeks, right? That's a long time.
Yeah,
it's almost 2 years.
Wait, did
now.
we miss one? Did we miss one? I feel like we missed one.
Around Christmas, we did.
Yeah, we took a short break this past Christmas because we were all pretty busy, so needed to take a little break. So, but no, pretty much every other week we've been here every single time, and
I think for Trevor and myself, I think that it goes without saying that Tom is the person that is always working behind the scenes to make sure that everything sounds okay. He puts together most of these episode rundowns for us, so. Really a hand to him for making this happen, because I know, at least for myself, there's a lot of work that he does that I would have had to leave if I had to do as much work as he does, honestly. So, he really
absolutely
keeps it together for us and makes sure that we get it going every 2 weeks. So, really big thanks to him as well.
Well, thank you guys. I appreciate that. And, it's a pleasure to do this. We have fun doing this. And, we said this a couple times in the show. As 50 episodes in, we never expected to be talking to as many people as we're talking to right now. It's amazing how our audience has really exploded, and we just have so many listeners, and we get so many great emails from people and so many great messages on Facebook. We appreciate all of those things. We really do. So
can we tell everyone? I guess we should. So we are working on a new logo, and with that new logo will come some kind of interesting merchandise. Yeah. Right. So if everyone just kind of stays tuned with us, we will be giving some of it away to some of our hardcore listeners, definitely, and then we'll have probably some other sort of raffling going on, as well as hopefully at some point in the future people will actually want to buy some of our stuff. Can you imagine that? So
yeah, I can see it.
Stay tuned for all of that fun stuff.
Yeah, we want a new logo because I don't know if you've looked at our logo, but our logo was made by me, and I am not a graphic artist. So, I did my best on it, and it served us well for 50 episodes, but it's time for a real one.
And I think what we'll do is that I will say that we'll update the website at that point, too.
What? Right. We can put it back on the end roll there.
We can put it back on the end roll, but we're all gonna have to do those things where you answer questions about your favorite Disney things. We'll put some of those on the website, so that way it will never go out of style.
Love it.
Yes.
All right. I love when we produce the show on the show. That's always my favorite thing that we do. Okay. So yeah, no, we couldn't be more grateful to everybody that listens to the show. 50 episodes in, we get emails sometimes from people that have been here since episode 1, and that is so cool. But those of you that are new, we love you too. But it's just a bunch of people have been listening to us since day one. And I remember, the first time we looked at our stats and we hit 100 downloads, and we were like, whoa, that's crazy. We got 100 downloads, and now it's many times more than that. And it's funny because it freaks us out still that we have so many people that listen. So
still, the thing is that I really want to be wearing a shirt at Disney and someone to come over and say hello. That's the goal. Not that I've met you. Not that it's been like, oh well, you know what, we're gonna be there at Disney. Oh yeah, me too. Let's meet up at so and so. Like no. I just want to be walking through the park.
Yep.
And I feel like if that happens, that's when we really
made it.
Yeah.
Well, I will tell you right now, I hadn't said this to you guys, but I do plan when I go on my trip in June, because I did just schedule a June trip for some reason, because why not, I guess. I'm actually staying at Old Key West, which is random, but there's a reason for it. But anyway, we won't get into that now. But I'm gonna wear some welcome home gear around in the parks, and we're gonna have a scavenger hunt. If somebody can find me, I'll give you something. I'll give you something free with our stuff on it. So that's my plan for when I'm on my trip.
Okay.
So you're gonna have to find me.
What do they win if they don't find you?
If they don't find me, either just be everyone else. Just the win being a guest at Disney. So, well,
all right. So why don't we get into some of these listener emails? Because
do I get to read these?
Yeah, do you want to read one?
I feel like of course.
Yeah,
like I feel like
you're
I've been
welcome
gone
back
so
here.
long. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
All right, this one is interesting to me. Okay, so Aaron writes, "Gentlemen, first I want to let you know that I love the podcast. I found you guys right as you were starting the show and have been a listener ever since." See, this could be some guy that needs some free stuff when we get it.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. When you get a chance, I was hoping to get your opinions on a question I had. I currently own a resale contract, 150 points at Saratoga, and was looking to add on at Animal Kingdom. Since I don't currently have perks, that's quotation mark perks, as he says, I was weighing buying direct versus resale given the price difference, which again could change, but he's giving us a rather large price difference. I want to get your opinion on whether or not would having the perks with a 75 point direct contract or a second resale contract, which would be about 40 to 45 more points for the same amount of money. Basically, I'm asking if you guys would rather have perks or 40 to 45 more points a year with no perks. Thanks a ton, Aaron. I know what I would want. I would want perks. That's me personally. It's funny. I was again. I'm gonna be the person this show that it just talks an awful lot. So just get used to it right now, since I've been gone so long.
Well, you got a lot of opinions that have been built up over the past couple months. So you got to get them out.
Been brewing.
Brewing. Yeah.
But that being said, listen. Yes, we understand that these perks are not guaranteed. But at the same time, I think that some of the perks, right, because of the way that they're changing, the way that they're doing, where you'll be able to stay going forward, I'm all about having regular old direct points. I think the difference is, I guess what I was getting at is that when I did the math in my head, my son was actually asking me about it today. We're having a very pleasant conversation about Disney and timeshares and just things in general. And we were kind of talking about it, and he kind of wanted to understand why. And I think what it comes down to is that, hey, if you can knock out those first, 5, 7, 10 years, whatever it ends up being, however it works for you personally, where it's all gravy. What does a couple thousand matter here and there, honestly? I mean, that sounds like kind of crass of me to say, but honestly, what does it matter when you're talking about that amount of points?
Over 50 years, what does a couple thousand matter, right?
Yeah. I'd rather have the perks, especially, Aaron, if you don't already have them. I'd rather have them. No disrespect to anybody else. I think the best of both worlds is having a resale contract and having a direct contract.
As someone who has a direct contract and a resale contract, I would agree with that. I personally am a big fan of the perks. I like the lounge. I'm the person that's always going up into the lounge. I'm the person that always wants to go to Top of the World, even though the resale people can get into Top of the World. But I like those perks. I mean, they're probably not worth what the price difference is, right? If you do the math on it, of course, it's probably not going to ever be worth it. No.
Yeah, I agree.
But at the same time, I like having those perks. It's almost like I'll tell a small story with this. I remember we took my mother-in-law and father-in-law to Disney, right? And we took them to Top of the World. And when we got up to the top and we're watching the fireworks from there, my father-in-law turns to me, who listens to the show, so hi, and he says, "How much did you guys pay for this?" And that to me was like, okay, obviously he recognizes that this is a really special thing that we're doing. This is like it makes you feel like a VIP. It makes you feel special. It makes you feel like you're, I don't want to say better than one of the regular Disney guests, but that's because that sounds really bad. But I like that feeling. I like the idea of those perks, and it just feels different when you go and you have you feel like you're a VIP, you know.
So I'm just going to jump in and say, yes, Tom, that does sound very bad.
It sounds terrible. I know.
Don't be a snooty member. No one likes a snooty member.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if the regular guests would just get out of my way as a special VIP, I mean, they're just always in my way. And just kidding. No emails, please. We're kidding. So I don't know, Trevor, what do you think about this? But
so it's funny. I think we're all on the same page here that, you know, that the perks are definitely a good thing. And, you know, for the same reasons that you said, Damon, you know, over an extended period of time, those extra couple $1,000s aren't going to make a big difference. But so for myself, you know, my experience was I bought in direct right away, and now I've bought a resale contract. So I have the best of both worlds on that front. But I think kind of what you're talking about, Tom, is, you know, it's a perceived happiness. Like it's a weird thing.
That's a better way to say it than I did.
Yeah, that's a lot better way to say it than I did.
So the thing is that, yeah, you know, those perks, you know, they make you happy. At the end of the day, it's, you know, you go to the lounge, you enjoy the lounge, right? You go, you do things like Top of the World, you get the discounts, like, you know, because
it would be funny to see what the math looks like over 50 years of the discounts. It may actually end up being
worth it eventually. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, right? Like, I mean, even if it's a couple $100, all right, right. So let's just say it's $200 a year over 50 years. It's kind of a lot of money, isn't it?
It is. And
yeah, right? And is that less or more than what you're paying in those points? Interestingly enough, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that, you know, all those things, you know, that's my wife and I have been talking about this a lot lately because of you know, like I've said, you know, my wife's father passed away, and so we've really been thinking about, you know, a lot of these things. Like in life, it's like, you know, if you spend a couple $1,000 extra on something, and, you know, you're getting the enjoyment out of it, what is the harm in that? Right? Like,
and I think everyone has a different opinion on that, right? So I would never lead anyone down that path.
No,
but wouldn't you also say, again, I've been out so many episodes, you guys have probably talked this to death, but I mean, wouldn't you say with the way that you're going to be able to book at the newer resorts based on direct versus resale going forward, that it's something else, that it becomes even a little bit of a larger situation?
So yeah, that's the other point too, is that there is a bit of an unknown there, right? Because even looking at like, you know, how I bought my contract here in January, just for the sake of getting grandfathered in on the current thing they had, which was, you know, how you're buying into the new resorts. The thing is over the next, you know, 20, 30 years, there can be all kinds of new things that come up that, you know, if you have a direct membership, you're getting grandfathered in. But I guess even, you know, on resale memberships, they do get grandfathered in as well, but they're already limited at this point, right? Like we're already past, you know, a couple of very large changes that have happened even just in the past couple of years.
Well, and I think what it kind of boils down to is that and again, if you buy direct, there's never going to be something that you're missing, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what happens. Listen, they can take away things, they can add things, they can do this, they can do that, but you're never going to be missing something. That I think is for certain people makes a difference, right? Like no matter what that is, it could be a free Mickey bar. It doesn't matter what it is, right? That's the perception of, I am not missing out on anything except, you know, Club 33. But, you know, but anyway, all being said, right? Yeah. Like I think there's a perception there. So the other thing that I always make note of as well is that, as you know, since I am buying a house, it's always nice to know that when you buy with Disney Direct, that you know, it's not hitting your credit report. I don't know, man. Yeah, for some people, that's something that is important. It was important to me. I'll tell you the truth when I was going about doing this, because we were in the process of buying a house at that time as well. And, you know, it was probably our second house, I think. And, you know, it was nice not having to worry about that showing up on your report per se.
Yeah. And again, honestly, that wasn't even on my radar when I bought into DVC either. Like I think that's the other thing too you have to think about is, you know, we're all talking about how we see it as important, but really at the end of the day is, you know, we can't tell any of our viewers, you know, this is, you know, you should do it just
you should do
end
it
of story, right? Like you have to kind of look at your own reasons, right?
And I would take, so let me look at the other side of it for a second then, right? So a lot of that will have to do with what I would perceive as my regular vacationing, right? So what Aaron's asking is that we're talking about 40 to 45 more points, right? So the first thing I have to ask is, how many family members do I have, and what does 40 to 45 points get me? Does it get me 3 more days because I have a small family and I stay in a studio at, you know, okay, see, like, what does it get me? Does it get me 1 more day? If you're telling me it gets me 1 more day every year because I already have to stay at a 2-bedroom, I don't care as much about 1 day as maybe somebody else might care about 3 extra days because of their family size. I think that comes into effect. It's funny. Listen, everyone, we love your questions. But again, this is a perfect example, as Aaron, like, we're giving you kind of some opinions of what we think based on a lot of things that we have to guess about you. You know, please, when you write in questions, the more information that you can give us, the better, you know, sort of answer we can give you back, right? Not knowing Aaron's family size.
And that's not saying like you guys don't have to write us, you know, every little detail of your life either. But yeah, you know, like you said, you know, thinking about the situation, actually, I'll even relate that back to myself. You know, I bought this last contract. We bought it resale, but it was solely with the purpose of, we wanted to actually cross the threshold between, for every one of our trips being able to choose between a standard view or a lake view. And so the amount of points that we bought actually was what allowed us to change over to getting a lake view for our entire stay going forward.
And that's interesting, right? Like, because I, me personally, I don't care. I want the worst view. I want the parking lot with the broken down Winnebago.
Whatever the cheapest view is.
Whatever the cheapest view is. And it's funny because, again, that's just a difference between Trevor and myself on how we view the use of our points. And I think those sort of things definitely play into, do I need more points or do I want the perks? But I'm sure at some point Aaron relates to everything we're saying. Again, as we normally do on this podcast, we talk way too much. So between those 17 minutes that we probably spent on this, Aaron, hopefully we've answered your question somewhat.
It's funny, David. I'm with you. I don't really. I think it's my opinion that the only place that a view matters to me is at Animal Kingdom, because if you're going to stay in Animal Kingdom, you want a Savannah view. I don't want to look at the parking lot.
I stay at Animal Kingdom all the time. It's where I've stayed at the most. You know how many times I've done a Savannah view? 0. Because I don't care.
Well,
I can walk outside and see them. Am I so lazy I can't walk outside?
Mean, you're not wrong.
and for us, you know, the whole difference between the standard and the lake view is that, like on our last trip, we watched the fireworks like 5 nights from our balcony, like, because that's just something we want to do, right? Like. You're right. I don't need that. I can, you know, go the entire trip without that, but it's something we wanted to do. And that's why, you know, we changed the points so that we could do that.
Of course. All right, Aaron, we love you, but we have another one here.
Yeah, we got lots to talk about.
More.
This episode.
Okay, all right. All right. So now this one's, I'm going to keep going. Sorry, Trevor. I'm in. I'm in. All right, Robert. Guys, I want to start off by saying I love the dynamics of your team. You guys sound like you have known each other since high school, which would be, like, me and Tom might have, right? We could have. I guess that could have been. We lived in the same state. Trevor, that would have been tough. I don't even think you guys call it high school there, do you?
It's high school, yes.
Okay, wait, what comes after high school, though? University, right?
College or university, yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, anyway, so it makes it very easy to listen. It might have been tougher to listen the past few without me. I get it. It's okay, Robert.
Ouch.
But, I became a DVC member last summer and found your podcast on my drive back from Disney World. I'm sorry you found it on the drive back instead of the drive there, but that's okay. I also became an annual pass holder on my last trip back in January, something that me personally, Damon, has not done. I missed Trevor by a couple of days before he arrived. I have started a Disney info and travel tips blog. I was wondering if you could, if I could have permission to mention your podcast in future blog posts. Of course you can. I have nothing but praise and would never have anything negative to speak about you when it comes to Welcome Home. We appreciate that. I think I can skip some of the rest of it. My blog is very young, and I'm working on adding a post a day, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so what is his... Again, I'm looking at this rundown that he wrote. Wait, where is it? Is the one... I see what Steve hosts, but where's Robert host?
Wait a second.
See?
Did I accidentally cut that out? My goodness.
Well, he asked the question about mentioning us on his podcast, which
his blog.
On his blog.
Yeah,
but now I want to know what his blog is.
I'm sorry, that's my fault for somehow accidentally cutting that out. Hold on a sec.
All right. So Tom will be providing a link to the blog for everybody to view later.
The name of his blog is Tomorrowland Traveler.
Oh, nice.
The Tomorrowland Traveler.
Okay. Where I'll have to go there, right?
Yeah, it sounds nice. That sounds like something that I would read on my lunch break. So,
okay, there we go. So,
so it's the tomorrowlandtraveler.com. So check that out, listeners of our show. Robert's a longtime listener, so he's a good guy. So check out his new blog. There's no question in there. We just wanted to promote Robert's blog.
and to let Damon know that I don't know how to spell traveler. Okay, now I got it. I'm there, and I like it. All right, there we go. And thank you again for talking about CC. Again, this is Tom's fault, but we still like him.
It is Tom's fault.
All right, the last one here. Steve writes, I just found your podcast recently and love it. We bought into DVC in 2015, and it's been hard to find a regular podcast that talks about it, so thanks for doing it. No problem. Mm-hmm. Now, we also know that Steve hosts a Disney Cruise Line podcast called DCL Podcast. Yep. Nice. So you should go listen to that as well. My two partners here in crime, right? Neither one of you have actually been on a cruise?
Not yet.
Nope.
Horrible.
It won't happen, unfortunately.
Oh, that's right. We've talked about this.
Yeah.
Yes,
we've been down this road. I feel like I want to go on one soon, but I just
wow. So I just have been over to his site, and he's been running this thing since 2016. Kudos.
A DCL podcast.
Yeah.
He's been doing it for a couple years now. So started around the same time as we did.
Oh, nice. Okay, so we need Steve and Robert to actually come on the podcast with us. So you have an open invitation. You can work that out with Tom, but we'd love to have you both on. You can promote both of your things a little bit more, as well as kind of chatting with us. And I always like to talk to somebody about Disney Cruise Lines, even though I'm buying a new house and I'm probably not going to be going for a few years. That all being said.
Steve has also been gracious enough to invite us on his podcast as well, so...
Yeah, you can invite these two. You can invite me. Right?
He invited just me, but I was
so you
generous.
you can talk to Tom about how he's never been.
I can talk about how use of points for cruises is a bad idea.
I'm starting to disagree with that. I am truly starting to disagree with that line of reasoning. And again, this should have its own discussion around it, but I'll just leave it at that for now. We have way too many things to talk about.
It's another topic for another day. Right?
Yeah, we'll save that for a future podcast.
When we have Steve on the podcast.
That's
right.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes. Steve and Robert are both welcome. And listen, listeners of the show, if you have something that you want us to talk about, we are willing to talk about your thing on our show. If you're a listener of this show...
We're not haters.
No, not at all. And other podcasts, we don't, there's enough room for a bajillion Disney podcasts because there are a lot of them, but there's not a lot of DVC ones. And, so we've got that one nailed down with a couple other ones out there. So, but please, if there's something that you're promoting that's Disney, oriented, please let us know. We're happy to talk about it. So, yeah. Let's talk about the Riviera. Okay, because David, you've been gone, and a lot of things have come out since you've been gone, and I'm curious if with the new changes, if you're still interested in Riviera, and B, just what your general thoughts are now that we've seen more pictures.
I don't know. I'm looking at your rundown though, and I get bored when I get to the third part. So let's.
Well, okay. First of all, let's talk. So before Disney can sell any of the DVC rooms at Riviera, which they haven't done yet, they had to declare some of those rooms. And we talked about this, 2 podcasts ago, Trevor, maybe?
Oh,
where we talked about
without me.
It
sounds like boring.
we talked about the whole declaring rooms and why people could book cash right now, but at Riviera, but they couldn't book with points, and that's because none of the rooms had been declared and none of the rooms have been sold. I mean, none of the points have been sold yet. And so now we see that there's been a declaration out there, which means that sales are going to start very soon for Riviera, which is good. But basically what's been declared so far, 9 of the 2-person tower studios, 8 deluxe studios, 7 1-bedroom, 18 2-bedrooms, 23 lock-off 2-bedrooms, and 4 grand villas. So those are the only rooms you're going to be able to book right now with points. That's what's going to be available once these are purchased here. The thing I thought was interesting was they also had to put out what the average points, and this is annualized, right? So this is not what it's going to be all the time. Obviously, it's going to fluctuate by season and by weekends and things like that. But a tower studio would be 15 points, deluxe studio with a standard view 20 points, deluxe studio preferred view 24. 1-bedroom standard view 40, 1-bedroom preferred view 47, 2-bedroom standard view 54, 2-bedroom preferred view 65, and a grand villa 134.
So when we go back to Aaron's discussion, right, where if he's get a 1-bedroom, he's literally talking about getting 1 extra night over perks.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
pretty much. But so that's, I thought that was interesting because I was interested to see where the tower studios were going to be priced. But again, this doesn't tell us a lot because it's an average, right? So there could be some seasons where it's 10 a night,
You're getting crazy, but go ahead. Sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say though
that was just crazy talk.
That tower studio though, that's pretty low. But again, that's that weird 2-bedroom, like
it's like living in New York,
or 2-person.
If you're from New York, that's fine.
Yeah, what did you think of those rooms? Did you check those out, Damon? Because that was What do you think of those?
I mean, it's fine for me. Like I said, so the Riviera in general, like, is something that I'm looking at. It's difficult for me to say. I'm still on the fence about what I want to do. Again, I'm at 170 points. I'm a little bit on the fence. I still have yet to have a problem booking at this long 11-month window, to be honest with you guys. Like, I don't see, there's not a true benefit for me yet. Like, even for Thanksgiving when I booked, I booked at Saratoga, and I'll be at Riviera at some point, but I don't think I care enough to purchase points at a newer resort, honestly.
Especially with the restrictions on it, right?
Well, what restrictions are we talking about?
Well, if you decided to resell it at some point, if you decided to sell that contract, it's probably going to have a depressed value just based on the fact that whoever you sold it to would only be able to stay at Riviera and nowhere else. So I don't ever think like that, right? So that's fair. Yeah.
I think end of contract for me. I don't ever necessarily think about selling my contract. Again, this is the way I feel. I just don't see that ever happening. I'd sit on a contract and rent points before I ever sold it because I think that's actually a more cost-effective way to do it. That all being said, I just don't see it for me just yet. You know what I mean? Like, I want to stay there, but I don't think I'm going to have a problem staying there when I want to. Like, again, the only problem I've had so far, and again, it's not even a problem, is Thanksgiving. I booked out Saratoga at 11 months. I don't even think I waitlisted Animal Kingdom yet. But if I waitlisted, I'll get it, even at Thanksgiving. It's just a matter of if I do it or not.
Yeah.
Right. I don't even have any shame in that. I know I'll get it. Like, I will figure out a way, but I don't even think I'm going to be honest with you, because just the change in points anyway. So I think I'll end up staying at Saratoga. What I've realized is, you guys may be in a different position than I'm in, but I travel with friends all the time, right? But what does it matter if we're two different places, honestly? It doesn't really matter to us.
Just meet up in the parks or,
And we've gone so often that we actually don't even book our fast passes together anymore. If they happen to overlap, great. We book all our dining together, but like, we don't book our fast passes together. So, I love the look of the Riviera. I really, really do. But I don't know if I need to buy there, but I do like it.
Yeah. It's funny. I feel the same way you do. Like, it's like, that's why I bought more points at the Poly, is that, it keeps everything together for, me booking 11 months and all that. But like, the whole thing about the Riviera is I feel like it'd be kind of, I try it once and then, I don't know. It's
yeah. I think what I'm looking, again, I'm definitely tangenting here a little bit, is what I'm looking at point wise is, again, my kids are already in high school and things like that, right? So I either got to go and say, hey, listen, my kids will be out of school soon. They won't have kids of their own yet. They're probably going to be like, well, we're all not coming with you. We got jobs, right? And I don't need any more points. Or I take the flip side effect of that and say, you know what, why don't I just go in and get enough points so I can start taking grandkids and families and all that sort of fun, good stuff, right? I don't know the answer to that just yet. So that's why I'm kind of hedging my bets a little bit and kind of seeing where I end up.
That makes total sense.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think that's the smart move to do, and I get that.
Would I stay in the Tower Studio with just me and my wife if we were going? Heck yeah. And do I plan on doing that at some point? Yeah. So another interesting tidbit about myself. So let's see. My oldest is now 15. Since my wife has been pregnant, we have never gone on a vacation without our kids. So that's going on 16 years. I refuse. I absolutely refuse. I love my kids an awful lot. I always want to be with them. I do not go on vacation without them. So it changes kind of my view at what I would see. You know what I mean? Like, because again, I'm always one bedroom guy. Like my daughter sleeps on whatever we can find for her to sleep on. If that's a cot, if that's a closet, so that's kind of where I am with that. So yeah, I mean, I want to stay there, but I don't think I need to buy points there to stay 11 months out.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty nice sized resort. I think if you were going to try to do it next year, I feel like you might have a challenge just based on proximity to Star Wars at all. You know what I mean?
We'll have an issue. He will.
Yeah, I will.
That's right. Yeah, Damon's got the magic touch. He always gets everything he wants. So I did just book Animal Kingdom at 7 months 2 days ago, but it's neither here nor there. But I think next year is probably going to be tough, and the first couple of years of Star Wars Land might be a challenge, but people cancel reservations every day. I mean, it's not...
But why do you think that's going to be a challenge at this resort?
Just because of its proximity
to Epcot and Hollywood Studios.
Yeah. I would actually argue that maybe over the next 5 years, with how much is opening at Epcot and how much is opening at Hollywood Studios over the next 5 years...
Again, do you guys care that much about that? Like, I mean, I look at it like this. I'm going to spend time at every park. So I'm going to have a day where I'm close, a day where I'm far. Those days all intertwine. Like, that doesn't matter to me.
I get that because, and that's kind of, your feeling on things. And for me, I don't value the proximity to the parks really either. Like we like staying in Animal Kingdom, which is far from everything except for Animal Kingdom, right? So, and that doesn't bother us too much. We prefer to stay at a place that we want to stay at. We do like staying at like Wilderness Lodge or Boulder Ridge, Copper Creek, because it's, a quick boat ride over to Magic Kingdom, but that's really the only time we actually care about that. For the most part, like you said, you're always going to be a distance from another park. There's nowhere you can stay where you're close to every park, right? Because even when you're staying at Magic Kingdom, you're kind of far from everything too.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but
and it's funny, as a different ages of kids, you start to realize that there's different parks for different ages of kids, as well as different parks for what kids enjoy more.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that your priorities shift, and that can govern where you stay too. But I was going to ask both of you. So when you guys go, you both rent, or you either drive down, so you have a car, or you rent a car.
Yeah, I always have
a
car.
So I guess from my standpoint, because I always fly in and I never rent a car when I'm there, I'm always making use of the transportation. So for me, like, Riviera is attractive because of the gondola system. Like, that's something where,
But hold on a second. You're using transportation for what? Just between parks?
Yeah.
Like, I don't drive. I don't ever drive to the park.
Once my car gets there, my car doesn't move until we
leave. And it gets right. And Tom, it gets so hot that it almost is like, it's like when your oven's kind of dirty and you just you set to clean mode and walk away. Like, that's what happens with your car. Yeah. Like, it's like, wow, my car doesn't really smell so good. The kids have been that's okay. Leave it in the Florida sun for a week by itself doing nothing. It will smell fine when you get back.
Especially if you have leather seats. Oof.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, so I was assuming like you were using your car to go to the different parks, because that saves on using the bus or whatever. But I guess if you're still using Disney transportation,
we have a blast on the bus.
I don't mind the bus at all.
I have an absolute blast on the bus. I'll tell you the honest truth. I like the bus.
So I'm good with the bus. We actually have, and I'll admit that too, we have some great conversations. I've met some cool people talking on the bus. The only time I don't like it is when, and this is just me being a fool, is like, I left Hollywood Studios right after Fantasmic. And, where you got to wait for like 3 or 4 buses before you actually get on the bus. But that's more on me because, I left at the wrong time.
Because night shows are stupid.
Because night shifts are stupid. Yeah, see,
Yeah.
Damon never deals with that because he's not in the park after 8 o'clock. So,
Well,
I'm at the park at like 6 in the morning now, but yeah, I'm never at the park at 8 at that dark. Yeah,
and to contend with that, you know, I watch the fireworks in Magic Kingdom, but I watch them from my balcony, so I'm not like, I see your point.
yeah, I don't know. I don't mind Disney transportation, honestly. I see a lot of people complain about the buses, and you know,
want to sit down anyway. Like, why am I upset about sitting down?
And with air conditioning.
Yeah,
and I was gonna say, I guess like my point more again back to the Riviera is that it's not even so much about, you know, taking buses or anything. I'm more interested in trying all the different methods of transportation. Like, it's kind of like one of those things where, you know, it gives me a reason to say, oh, you know, we can just hop on the gondola and go over to Hollywood Studios. Like, I just want to do that. It's not that I have any, you know, complicated reason beyond that. I just want to say that I did it.
Well, it's to your point, you know, my family is always one that has viewed the monorail as a ride as opposed to a method of transportation. And we're going to view the gondolas the same way. You know, like there's been times that we've kind of had like this weird like half hour between, you know, dinner and when we're in the park and there's nothing we can really do in that amount of time. And we've just gone on the monorail loop and just gone around for a half hour. Like we've done that before. Like it's a ride, you know, so that's just kind of how we see things. So I'll do the same thing, Trevor. I'm just going to get on the gondola as like a ride every once in a while. So, but yeah. I don't even know where this conversation started. Oh,
the Riviera was where we started.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We were talking about the Riviera. So
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But I think we beat that though. We beat that. I think we're good with that now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel the same way you do about it, where I'm not running out to buy it. I mean, I'll definitely stay there at some point. But I don't really feel like there's a need for me to buy there. I mean, I think it's going to sell well. Regardless of the restrictions, I still think people are going to buy. But
yeah,
we'll have to see.
And again, this is all of us sitting here as, you know, we already have our DVC figured out and all that. So it's very easy to say that because, you know, we're already all in, right? So.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I also think that nobody buys DVC with the intention to ever sell it. You know what I mean? Obviously, there's situations that come up where, you know, you might have to, right? Because of financial issues or your, you know, life changes, things like that. So, I mean, I could see that. But, you know, how many times have we had DVC resale market on here and they say DVC is not an investment? DVC is not an investment, right? Yeah. Obviously, you don't want to lose money on these things. But, like, kind of to what Damon was saying, like, if you're worried about it, then just rent the points out instead of selling it. And you can make those dues back by renting points out. I mean, you know, there's other things you can do to avoid that. But I don't know. I also know several people that bought at one resort and only ever stay at that resort. So for some people, that's not going to matter. Maybe they want to stay at Riviera every single time they go. You know? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, there's plenty of people that just like Trevor. We've talked about this before. You have stayed at Poly every time you go. I mean, you want to branch out at some point, but you know, maybe you stay at Poly forever. You never intend to stay anywhere else.
Yeah.
So
you're right. I can't say what I will do in 5 years. I don't think that far ahead.
That's exactly right. So, but I mean, listen, this is a good step. This is a good thing that they've declared some rooms, because that means they're going to start selling them very soon here. So, and I know a lot of people have been wondering what those point charts are going to look like. They've been wondering what the, you know, price per point is going to be. And I mean, we should know those things really, really soon. In fact, I mean, I could see it happening. I mean, by the time this episode comes out, I mean, it might happen this coming week. We could hear more about it, and people can start buying if they want to. So,
yeah, I personally can't see it going any longer than like beginning of April. But
no, yeah, I can't imagine. Yeah. All right. So, anything else about the Riviera before we talk about our friends' DVC resale market?
Nope,
I'm good.
All right. Well, let's do this ad for our buddies over at DVC Resale Market. So, DVC Resale Market is the leader in the DVC resale industry with 11 former Disney Vacation Club guides and 2 former Disney Vacation Club quality assurance managers. If you're thinking of buying DVC, browse the largest selection of DVC resale listings anywhere with DVC experts on hand 7 days a week to answer your questions. You've heard Derek on the show. You've heard Marissa on the show. They'll answer your questions. Somebody else will answer your questions over there. They have a ton of people over there willing to answer your questions. If you're thinking of selling, turn to the friendly professionals at DVC Resale Market, where over 98% of listings sell within 30 days, and nearly 3,000 contracts were sold in 2018 alone. So these guys are the pros. They're the experts. They have sold 3,000 contracts just last year. They will help you through your purchase or if you're looking to sell your contract. So go to dvcresalemarket.com or call 1-844-DVC-PROS. That's 1-844-382-7767. Let them know that Welcome Home sent you. We love to hear that our listeners are calling them, and we hear from DVC Resale Market all the time that you guys are calling and saying that you heard about them from us. So please let them know that Welcome Home sent you. That's important to us, and it's important to them too. So again, that's dvcresalemarket.com or 1-844-DVC-PROS. So please check them out.
I was going to say, just to further emphasize that they've been great. We finished we did all of our closing documents on our contract just this last week. And everyone over there. Derek and Marissa, they've been wonderful, but there is so many more staff there that are supporting them as well. Just, I can't endorse these guys enough. Like,
I agree.
They're awesome.
They respond quickly to all your questions. They're just great. The title company they work with is great. They just move as quickly as they can, and they help you with anything you need. So, definitely, we always say support the people that support us. They are a huge supporter of the show. They have been here since the very beginning. If you go back and listen to episode 3, Nick Cotton is on here talking about DVC resale. So they've been with us for years now, and we appreciate them. And so check them out. Yeah, guys, let's talk Epcot.
Oh boy. I love Epcot. Well, I want to love Epcot.
I want to love Epcot more. So lots of Epcot news came out. I know, Damon, you're an Epcot guy, right? You're a big Epcot guy.
I'm an Epcot food guy, yeah.
Well, I mean, but, you like, just the park too, right?
I like the park.
Okay. Well, we had a couple announcements come out. First of all, the Wonders of Life Pavilion. Those of you that are maybe new to Disney, maybe don't know about the Wonders of Life Pavilion that existed for, a long time there and then shut down and has basically been sitting empty for years now. And occasionally they use it for special events. I think they use it for like Food and Wine and for Flower and Garden and stuff like that. But they've now announced finally that they're going to be doing something with this. They're going to be turning it into a play pavilion. And basically, so those of you that don't know where this is, it's kind of in between where Ellen used to be, and where Mission Space is.
Shed a tear.
What's that?
Shed a tear.
Shed a tear. That's right. Pour one out for
Ellen and her.
For ride. Ellen and her. Yeah, that's right. But so that big golden dome that's kind of tucked back there, this is going to turn into basically it's a play city is what they're calling it. It looks a lot like the last Wreck-It Ralph movie to me.
Yeah, I thought that too. It has that like internet city kind of thing going on with it. Yeah,
and so I'll give you a quote here from Walt Disney Imagineering. This innovative new pavilion is beyond anything we've ever created and is completely unique to Epcot. Built on the power of play, it introduces an immersive and interactive city where you can explore, create, and interact with some of your favorite Disney characters. This is an experience worthy of our bold vision for Epcot and another signature element of our transformation. So I was looking at this, by the way, and I felt like it almost felt like Disney Quest 2.0 to me. I don't. Did anybody else get that or no?
No. I don't want to set it up like that. I don't want to.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I just feel like this is like the next iteration of like.
No, this feels like a people eater that's going to be
it's totally
super boring.
I was you're like a video game guy, right?
Well, but this.
Well, no.
Wait, where was the paint thing? Wait, where am I? I have to start.
The color pavilion thing.
Where you can like interventions.
Interventions, yeah.
Yeah, it feels like it's going to be like that, which is like I don't know.
Yeah, so the vibe I get from it is it's definitely like if you look at interventions is on life support at this point. It's it needs to go
It's
away.
pretty much empty. It's empty.
And the problem
The coolest
is
part
that,
about it was the roller coaster stuff. Let's be honest. That was awesome.
Those were cool.
Yeah, once they took the virtual reality coaster out, it was, there wasn't much there to play around with. The problem with Interventions is that the way it was framed was, it was always the newest technology, which of course, within inside of 2 years, it was already out of date, and there was no way that they could sustainably keep updating Interventions. Yep. This to me sounds like they're taking that concept and they're reshifting it to, just that, an interactive pavilion, a place where, kids can go play, kids can interact with things. And like you said, Damon, it's a people eater. It's,
it's going to be like the Curious George part of the park in Universal.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I feel like you can send a whole lot of kids through it and it's totally nothing special, but because it's at Disney, it's going to eat people. Right. Like, I mean, that's what it's going to do, because it's just, it's what it makes me feel like? It makes me feel like it's going to be like the end of Test Track, times 5.
Or I was going to say, actually, even like Spaceship Earth, like they have all the games and stuff at the bottom of Spaceship Earth. And to me, this is very much that. If you think about it, I know Epcot is more centered on, more adult kind of experiences, but this feels like, Epcot's really been needing a place for, people want to go there with their kids, like their young kids. And yeah, like it's kind of like hoping, Fantasyland, right?
Yeah. I'm hoping though, this is an experience worthy of our bold vision for Epcot. I mean, I hope it's kind of cool. Right? Like, I mean, again, I'm on the fence here, right? I'm not even on the fence. I'm behind the fence going, yeah, I don't think so. But I'm hopeful, right? I'm always hopeful. Like, I peek over that fence and see that green grass, and that green grass is being grown, hydroponically, through some sort of,
that's
new nutrient system. Yeah, right?
That's at the land. Yeah, that's living with the land.
Right? So, hydroponic grass. And, yeah, I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like it might be great, but I'm really, really not all that. I don't know. I just don't feel good about it. I don't feel like it's going to be something that I'm going to want to do. Like, Trevor, maybe you were saying, I think it might be something for younger kids, or it might be something like that, but we shall see.
Yeah. I'm really, I want to be excited about it, but after seeing what happened with Interventions and, even like you said, Tom, Disney Quest, the problem is that
Disney Quest was awesome for a few years, though.
Yeah.
Oh, it was awesome.
Yeah,
it was, right?
I have such rose-colored glasses for Disney Quest. Like, it was paradise to me.
The best was the raft ride. Let's be honest. The raft ride to me was the best.
That tied with the pirate one for me. So
okay,
yeah. But yeah, that's the problem, right? Is, I'm worried that, they're going to release this pavilion, and yeah, for the first, year or two, it's going to suck everybody in. And then it'll be just like, end of Test Track or end of Spaceship Earth, where there's like, 5 people in there, because the novelty wears off and the technology just,
and I think
again, doesn't keep up, right?
Was an interesting part of time. I think that Disney Quest was so innovative in terms of what they were trying to accomplish. And even though they didn't necessarily hit it 100%, it was so different and so new that it was... It had a little bit more sustainability to it. Kind of like the Void, I think, again, like the Void's so awesome that like it's got some sustainability built around it, so I don't, again, I'm being pessimistic here. I'm hoping they can do something similar, because if you were to tell me, oh, they're going to do this thing called the Void and it's going to be, it's a lot better than I truly thought it would be. So I think that, I have to give these people the benefit of the doubt and say that maybe they will come up with something that is as cool as what we originally thought Disney Quest was.
Well, and that's kind of why I say Disney Quest 2.0, because I look at this and I do feel like they're trying to do something kind of bold here. And I do feel like this is kind of like the Void in that it's more updatable based on what they're doing. Like, it seems to me like they'll be able to, almost, it's like they can plug in a new thing, pretty quickly without having to worry about falling behind. You know what I mean? Like, if they have a new movie, if they have new characters, they can. I feel like this environment that they're building, they'll be able to bring in those new characters and new experiences quickly.
So let me tell you what would do it for me. Okay, there is something here that would actually do it for me. You give me true, honest to goodness holograms, which is possible these days, right? You give me holograms in this thing, I'm on board.
Well, they did file a patent for real holograms, and we assumed it was for Star Wars Land, but it could be for this too.
You give me real holograms here, I'm on board.
And yeah, I guess kind of to that point is, you were talking about swapping things in and out. I was thinking more like, that was where Interventions fell down, was that they couldn't swap the technology in and out, but they don't need to swap the technology here. It's character interactions, right? And I mean, oh my gosh, the amount of characters that you start off with, the Fab Five, but then you can expand it to DuckTales. You can go to whatever, Coco, newest movie, whatever is coming out, right? Like,
absolutely.
Like, yeah, you're right. I guess that makes a little more sense, and hopefully makes this into something more sustainable that people will want to go back there more than once. It won't be a, I saw that last time, I don't need to see it again, right?
Well, and that's, to your point, the intervention stuff, it was all like physical stuff, right? It was like how do you update all these machines and like without a huge refurbishment? And that's why I compare it to the Void in that case, where it's like, oh, we want to do a Wreck-It Ralph thing. It's like, okay, we'll just upload a Wreck-It Ralph thing. Like, it's not, you know what I mean? They didn't have to refurbish anything. They just had to, animate all that stuff. And there you go. You have a new experience. And that's kind of how I feel like this is set up. And plus they made it like amorphous, like it's a city, right? So it could be, anybody could show up in a city, right? It's not like a specific location. It's like the city of the future that you're going to interact with. So that's kind of why I was thinking, I was looking at this and I was like, I'm super psyched that they're doing something with that pavilion. Am I sad that it went away in the first place, and B, that they didn't bring it back the way it was? Yeah, but I mean, I get why they just didn't bring it back. Like, people just don't want to see the same thing that was there before. But I
have no ties to it, so to me this is all gravy.
So it's all and listen, it's a previously unused space that was just sitting empty. I mean, it's again kind of what Damon was saying. It's a people eater. It's going to help with the crowds, and it could be one of those cool things. I guess I'm on the opposite end of this, where like if at the end of Mission Space, right? When you go out there and they have like the interactive games where you have like a team of people and you're competing against another team, like I love that. I every time we come out of that ride, like I want to stop and I want to play and I want to compete against other people, and I think that kind of stuff is fun. And if they do that kind of thing, then I would really like this. I would go out of my way to check it out and see what it's like. If they make it super kid centric, like, and maybe I won't be into it, maybe I will. I'm a very childish human being, but but I don't know. I'm excited for this. I saw it and I thought it looked kind of cool. And if they really are trying to do something different and groundbreaking, like whenever they throw those PR quotes out, it's always like, we're doing something we've never done before. They always kind of throw that kind of stuff out, even if it's not necessarily true. But I hope that they are doing something really, unique here and something really different. I think it could be a great addition to Epcot. Although, a lot of people will be upset with the continued infiltration of characters to Epcot. But, we're there already. Okay. It's
what?
The seal's been broken on that one. Okay. So.
Okay. Ahead, someone's going to hate me for this, but they put Frozen in there, so you have to let it go.
Oh man.
Yeah, I did that. Accept it. I'm sorry, but
wow.
Yes, it was terrible. But you're right.
But no, it's
right. Okay. Epcot is not exclusive, or it's not a non-character park anymore. You can't. It hasn't been that way for a while, actually. Like,
it really hasn't.
Yeah.
So some other things that are coming to the park too that they announced, and I don't think we talked about this last episode, Trevor, right? Because I don't think this came out yet about the entrance.
No, it didn't, and I'm super excited for this.
Yeah, this is great too. So they're getting rid of the tombstones. The tombstones are leaving. So the Leave a Legacy tombstones at the entrance are going to be moved to another location. So they're not getting rid of them completely. If you paid for one of those, when they did them, you can still find it somewhere, but we don't have to look at them anymore when we're walking in. They're going to make it, filled with, it looks like gardens, and it looks like the fountain is going to be closer to the original when you came in. It looks like they're almost going for like a retro feel to this entrance, which is awesome.
Yeah, just like you said, a very nice open space. It has the garden and everything, but it's open. It's not having to weave through all these weird monument things, which, yeah.
The tombstones.
Yeah. And the other important thing about this is the fact that they're redoing the entrance. I talked about this on a previous episode.
We were just complaining about this last episode about how bad the security is at the beginning.
Yeah, the fact that, if you ride the monorail, you have to do double security. I hate that. I hate that, you go through it at the Transportation and Ticket Center or wherever you get on the monorail, and then you have to get off, and then you line up with everybody else to get through. Like, I hope that part of this redesign is that they move things so that, coming off of the monorail, you can just go straight to the entrance, and they've got, security off to the side there. I would love if they would do that.
Kind of seems like that's what they're doing. And they're doing those security upgrades now. And that's a concerted effort. They're doing this at all the parks, by the way. They're building a new security checkpoint at Hollywood Studios right now. They just filed permits to do a new tram stop at Animal Kingdom, which we don't have on the list today, but that's because it's, and
it's a covered tram stop too, so that's important.
Yeah, and all these bag checks are also covered and a lot more permanent and a lot larger. So this is a good thing to me. I'm excited about these changes. I love the look of if they make it anywhere near what that looks like, it's going to really set an amazing stage when you're walking into the park instead of seeing those tombstone things. So
and
I like those tombstone things. I don't know.
Do you really?
Man, I like anything like that Disney. I have a stone in the Transportation Center, right? Like, I love that.
Oh, you have one of the bricks? You have one of the bricks?
I do have one of the
pavers,
bricks.
whatever they are.
Yeah. It's in the Transportation Center. It is, I have a picture of it somewhere with the number and all that good stuff. And you actually have a certificate that you got when you actually bought it.
Well, now I have to find it when I'm there in November. So
okay, I'll have to dig up what the number is because I think they're numbered, right? Aren't they all numbered? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have the number and the picture of it. And I actually got it after my grandparents passed away, in their name. And what is interesting is I have a picture of like my two boys sitting next to it when we went there. But it's nice. I like that. Yeah, I like that. That's so cool. I'm all about anything like that happens in the parks. I enjoy that sort of stuff. So
you're sad.
I like the tombstones. Yeah, I am. I like those.
So I like that too. I don't like how they did the tombstones. Is my biggest beef is that and again it's just really dated. Like when you look at the pictures they were using, it's technology from like 15, 20 years ago. Yeah. Whereas, but, I think the pavers are a little more timeless.
But you know what I like about the tombstone is that they're not like a picture, right? Like, I don't know if I want my picture there, right? Like, it's like a license picture. Do I really want my license picture up there? It only looks good for a few years. And I'm like, oh, really? Like, that's my license picture? I think the nice part about those is it's just that silhouette-y sort of feel. And a silhouette never really goes out of style. That's me. That's my opinion.
I don't mind the actual pictures on them. I guess I just mind the structures that they're on and as you're walking in.
They're awesome.
I feel like they looked cool in the 90s. I just feel like it's time for something different. But
yeah.
I see this is why we miss Damon, is for that minority opinion on things like that.
No, you mean the right opinion, in my minority opinion.
It's a different point of view, right? And again, that's why we all see this differently. And I'm sure people are mad at me because I said, I'm glad to see them go away because I just don't like them. I've never had an attachment to them. Even the pavers. I love walking from the Polynesian to the Transportation Ticket Center. I stop and look at those pavers. I look at the names and everything. The tombstones, though, I walk right by them. I don't have any desire to go and look at them.
Oh, I do. And it's funny, I think one of the things is, as we kind of bring this back around of what, I guess Robert was saying too, we're the three of us are at all kind of different parts of our life too, right? So like I have 3 kids, one in high school. Trevor, how old is your son again?
He's 10. So we're just getting out of elementary and into junior high in the next year or two here.
Exactly. And then, Tom has a new one. So yep. I think it brings a different perspective. And I think this is actually why this works so well.
Yeah.
Because I know there's a lot of other podcasts where everyone's kind of in the same sort of family dynamic. And we are not. right? We are definitely not.
Definitely not.
And I think that makes it kind of fun because our opinions are different based on that, different sort of dynamic.
Nobody wants to listen to a podcast where everyone just agrees with each other all the time. So that's boring. We need to disagree occasionally.
That's true. Well, we just disagree all the time, which is fine too.
I mean, which is good too. Yeah, which is good too.
Yeah,
I'm excited. I'm excited about all this, though. I'm excited about all of it.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what they do to the entrances to all the parks because they work, but yeah, there's obviously room for improvement, right? Like there's, and yeah, as the world changes, security checks weren't a thing, 25 years ago. So, or not like they are now, right? So, yeah, I'm glad that they're actually, factoring that into the. I like that they kept talking about the entrance experience because you don't realize it, but just getting through security and getting through the park entrance, that really can frame your day if you're not thinking about it, right? Like for most for myself, it's like even when I get in there, even if it took me an extra 20 minutes to get through security because it was busy, it's still like, once I'm inside, I'm like, yeah, I'm great. I'm good. But I know people, even in my personal life, there's people that I talk to on a regular basis that, if they have to stand in line for more than 10 minutes, they will grumble about it for like an hour afterwards.
Ruins their whole day. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like you may not realize how much that does actually affect your day, right? So,
yeah, it's a smart move, and a lot of those security stations, almost like, especially since they added the metal detectors, they had a very temporary feel to them. Like they didn't feel like they were they had like little pop up tents, pretty much, and like and they just the metal detector just sitting there in the middle of nowhere. It just didn't have a consistent feel to it. So I'm glad that they're thinking about these things because I think it's an important thing. Like we talked about it a couple episodes ago where, like you were just saying, those things matter. It matters to how you start your day. And, when you breeze through security, there's no better feeling than that. So I used to never have the bag with me. So I always used to go through the no bag line and I'd just be like waiting on the other side for my wife to come through. And
then she would grumble at you because they searched everything. And
well, but now I got to go through the metal detector. So I, even when the no bag line, they make you go through the metal detector. But anyway, I digress. So they're also, by the way, going to be setting up an experience center at the Odyssey Events Pavilion. So if you don't know what the Odyssey is, it's another kind of empty space at Disney that is, what would you call it? Right over by the World Showcase, I guess.
It's in between Test Track and the World Showcase.
Yeah,
and
so you probably walked by it 100 times if you don't know where it is and what it is, and we're like, what's this building? And this is, it's been sitting there kind of empty.
They actually use it for like food and wine and flower and garden and everything. Like you can actually go in there and they've got like you can buy different foods and stuff at the kiosks in there. Yeah. So they'll use it for special events, kind of like Wonders of Life. But now they're going to set up an experience center where you can see all the things that are coming to Epcot. So it's pretty cool. I will look for that.
Yeah. All right. Anything else we want to talk about before we move on to, my favorite segment, which is rampant speculation? No?
Nope.
All right. Let's speculate.
Yeah. Okay. So this first one, this is a weird thing for somebody to notice.
It is, and we should mention this is from WDWNT. I don't know if do you want to read it, Trevor?
Yeah. So a mystery apparatus appears on a dinosaur vehicle. So what it is that on the back of the EMV ride vehicles, a rig has been set up with 3 devices attached, all pointing down towards the guests. So they only saw it on one vehicle, but that nobody really knows what it is. It almost looks like cameras or something, but they're on the back of the vehicle, right? So it's like, why are you taking pictures of the back of people?
The back of people's heads. Like,
yeah.
I don't know what this is. I was looking at these and I was so confused by them.
I'm trying to think like if there's something infrared or something because it's a dark ride, right? The ride itself is very dark. I'm thinking either maybe it's extra lighting so that you can see things a little better. Because for me it's like if I go in there, if I go on Dinosaur in the middle of the day, I can't see half of the effects in the ride because my eyes are still adjusting, right?
So dark in there, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like maybe that, but yeah, I don't know. It's a weird setup.
Well, like think about this too. If it is cameras and they are recording something, like Dinosaur is such a bumpy ride. Like you wouldn't even get good video. It would just be flying all over the place because you'd be bumping all over. Like I don't even know. It would look terrible. My only thought of what this could be, and I'm sure this is not the reason, but I was thinking to myself, well, what if Disney needs some dinosaur footage for like a new commercial they're doing or something, and it doesn't matter if it's the back of their heads. You could just see the ride vehicle, but that's the only thing I could think of. I don't know what else they would use this for. Like,
yeah,
I don't
maybe
know.
it was
It's confusing.
maybe they just ran it that one day and that was it, right? And we'll never see it again.
I don't know. It's very confusing. I don't know what the heck they would use this for. It's just it's odd looking. But yeah, well, I mean, you can check this out on wdwnt.com. But yeah, if you're curious of what this is, I mean, none of us know. It's just weird looking. I like that somebody asked a cast member and they said it would shock you if you were not acting good. That just seems kind of harsh, but
well,
I mean, they certainly look like cameras to me.
Well, maybe they're right. Maybe it is like a new a 4D effect, right? Like,
I mean, but they're an eyesore, though. I can't see them putting this on everything,
Well, I don't know. I feel that they kind of fit with the ride because the ride is like that, time machine kind of thing. So it's already got like weird things bolted onto it. So it's not that far removed, but it's yeah. I guess the other thing too is so this is Dinosaur, and I haven't heard anything about anything like this on the Indiana Jones ride. Which so for those that don't know, Indiana Jones and Dinosaur are the exact same ride. It's the same track. They're just themed differently, and like they've got a different story to them. But yeah, like I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe it is just something they did for a commercial, or maybe it's maybe I was gonna say maybe a way to monitor the guests so that they can actually see what's going on. But they already have cameras throughout the thing anyway, and I'm sure they've got night vision cameras in the ride already to see what people are doing. So why would you have this? Yeah.
I have no idea, man. This is a good. I like this mystery though.
Yeah, I need to look up what these things could possibly be, because right now, like I said, to me it looks like an infrared camera or something like that. But yeah, I need to understand what the thing is first.
Well, I feel like this is one of those mysteries we're never going to know the answer to. So.
Or it'll come up in like I can bet you something will change with Dinosaur in like the next year, and then we'll be like, oh, that makes sense.
Oh, that's why they did it. Yeah, we'll just have to remember that we even talked about this.
Yeah, right.
So, okay, so the next one we have here too is, again, this is from wdwnt.com. Some mysterious construction walls have gone up around, basically around the security checkpoint for, well, not the actual security checkpoint at the International Gateway, but to the side of it. And nobody really seems to know what this is. And I'm going to tell you what I think it is. Because up until now, the International Gateway has been kind of a hidden secret. It's, been just for those resort guests at Boardwalk, really, and Beach Club. Now it's going to be all the people arriving by gondola. Yep. I think this is going to be more security. That's what I think it's going to be. That's just my guess.
But it's further inside from the...
It is. But they could... I don't know how they're going to work it, but it's just a guess. I don't know.
So the area... So it's in... But no, again, how could that be security if it's already inside the park? It's past the turnstiles.
Well, if they have like fencing, and then they like just have it as like additional security that you have to go further up for.
But you know what I mean? No, it's already past this turnstiles, so you've already scanned your park ticket at that point.
Well, but I mean, I'm just assuming that they're going to reroute everything. So like they're going to also, make you, or maybe they take the turnstile like where you scan in and they move it to there, and then they expand. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just think it has to do with security and the increased guest flow that they're going to expect from the gondola. It's just my guesses. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know what it is.
So I guess my only question is, how far away is that from the lagoon? I actually have never walked over to International Gateway, so I don't know how far. I know it's like it's past the England pavilion, right?
Yeah. It's right by France.
Yeah. So I guess, I've walked over the bridge there. I guess my only thought was maybe this has something to do with the new nighttime show.
Oh, that's interesting. Like a projector they're setting up or something?
Yeah, something that shoots out over the lagoon that's part of one of the effects. So
interesting. Maybe
that's a possibility, right? Maybe they're readjusting where things come from for the nighttime show.
That's interesting. Well, yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I think we put Damon to sleep. I think Damon's taking a nap until we talk about Star Wars in a second here.
I am. I'm playing Clash Royale, to be absolutely honest with you.
Welcome back, Damon.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to talk about Star Wars?
I mean,
do I personally? Of course, I want to talk about Star Wars.
I think we need to talk about Star Wars with all the stuff that came out. I mean, my goodness, it went
the one thing I wanted to talk about, though, Tom didn't even put on the list. So, like,
you want to talk about the food when there's all the other stuff we could talk about?
Hell yeah!
The food looks good. Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
the food does look amazing. I'll give you that. It is on the list. It's in there. I was too lazy to list everything out.
Oh boy!
You got to scroll through a little bit. You got to look.
So what are we starting with?
I mean, if you want to talk about food, we can talk about food first.
Yeah, of course I want to talk about food first.
Right.
So I have to say I was pretty impressed with the way the food came out in Pandora. Like that I feel like Pandora
Canteen.
and Star Wars. Yeah, like I kind of feel like we're listen, it's not going to be the same sort of food. It's not going to, but I feel like, right, we're talking about some futuristic or, listen, maybe Star Wars a long time ago in the past, some sort of otherworldly
right.
food. And I thought they did a phenomenal job. One of my favorite quick serve places to eat. So I am super excited. And I think that they're going to do another bang up job at this, right? So, I mean, do we get into exactly what we're talking about food wise? Has this been official? Is this all official?
Oh, this is
stuff
all official.
This
is all official. Yeah. So, because Disney basically had a review embargo, and then they decided, okay, we're going to bring in some select news organizations, and
why
so this
are we
is
not
all
there?
Because we're not a news organization. But I mean, we will get on that list one of these days. But but yeah, so a couple news organizations got to actually tour, even though it's still under construction. They got a tour, and they also Disney just released a whole bunch of information about it. So this is all the stuff we're looking at here is official. This is happening stuff. So,
I mean, I like some of the different things. I mean, obviously, I think that the milk is what people are going to be interested in, and I find it enjoyable that the blue milk is going to be a plant-based sort of milk. As I get older and older, my tolerance for milk continues to go down and down.
As a lactose intolerant person, I am ecstatic.
Well, and it's funny, Trevor. My grandfather used to have like orange juice or coffee in a cereal, and I was like, yeah, whatever. And as I was younger, it was no big deal. And now, in my mid-40s, what it really has come down to is I can do one glass of milk, one bowl of cereal, one thing of ice cream each day, and I'm fine. Once I go over that number, that's when I start to run into problems. And mine is more of a stomach hurt than anything. So all that being said, too much personal information for anyone that really cares about. I am glad that the blue milk will be plant-based. But, I mean, there's a lot of things on here that I'm, kind of excited about. The raspberry cream puff with passion fruit mousse. The only thing with that is it seems a little too much like the same thing that they had over in Pandora.
Sure.
But... there's a lot of, there's a lot of things on here.
Yeah. They actually put out like the whole menu, and I think they're actually putting out a cookbook too. I think I saw. But yeah, I mean, there is a ton of stuff.
And I don't know how you guys feel, but I felt ever since Pandora, like that food that's been there feels like it's healthier, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
it's not
like
fast food, right? Even though it's quick service, it doesn't feel like fast food.
It's not
And I think
Casey's
they've-
Corner, you know.
And I think they've done the same thing. Like, right, I see kale in some of this stuff, right? I see,
Quinoa,
kefta meatballs, right? I see
Cabbage
hummus. I see a lot of things in there that
plant-based
that make
meatloaf. I mean,
yes.
yeah, it's
it makes me, excited to go there and feel comfortable about having, food there. And I think that's been the big thing as my kids, and I don't know how, my kids personally, but my kids will go to Disney and eat kale because it's cool, and then come home and be like, I never want to see kale again in my life because now they see it, coming from the grocery store. So I think this is actually a really, really good thing when, again, I'm going to really tangent here and talk about, children and a lot of the food choices that happen with fast food. I think having things like this at Disney lets kids experience newer and probably healthier foods than they may experience if they just came home from the grocery store. And that is a great thing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It really, truly is. And
yeah.
I'm very happy to see this list here, which is why I was upset that Tom didn't give it its due diligence in his rundown.
I
Like
thought
he
I
was
put
just going
food
to
in
pass
there.
it over
I think
like
I
it
just
was
put
no
food.
big deal. Yeah.
I put food on there. I just didn't list it all because there's so much. I mean, these names are pretty amazing too. Bloody Rancor, what else?
Braised
Fuzzy-
shack roast.
Yeah, the Outer Rim, T16 Skyhopper. I like that one. Jedi Mind Trick. Like, these are some fun drink names. I like it. And also, we did also get confirmation too that Rex from Captain Rex, DJ R3X, as he's going to be in this. I believe it's the Cantina, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is going to be voiced by what's his name, Paul Rubens.
Paul
again.
Rubens.
So,
Yeah.
which is great. I think that's really cool. What else do we have on here? There's so much they put out so much information. It's crazy.
About food, or now we're moving
Everything.
on to-
Everything.
Yeah.
So okay, let's talk rides a little bit. So, me personally, I'm actually more excited about the Rise of the Resistance ride than I am about the Millennium Falcon ride.
Oh, I 100% would concur.
Yeah.
I would agree with that without a doubt.
That ride just looks epic. It looks incredible.
I'm still split between both of them, but you're right. I feel that Rise of the Resistance is going to be that. It's going to be a sleeper hit, right? Everyone's been so jonesing for the Millennium Falcon that this one's just going to come around and blow everyone away.
Again, you know my feeling about like that sort of ride, right? Like the Millennium Falcon ride has always been like, man, yeah, okay, I can't recreate the cockpit, but the actual ride itself, that's just
The digital,
up.
yeah.
Yeah, like no, like I mean, it's going to be fun. Listen, don't get me wrong, but I feel like that's a ride, not an experience. And as I get older and get more keenly observant to what I want in my entertainment, I feel like an experience is what I want. And I think that is going to be an experience rather than a ride, and I am on board with that.
One of the coolest things I read about that Rise of the Resistance ride is the idea that you start off and like you get on like a Star Tours type of ride, right? You're like in one place, you get on a Star Tours type of ride, like then you're flying into space, and then when you get off of that, you go out the same door, but now you're in the you're in the other ride. You're in the actual ride. Yeah, you like transferred to a different place. You're now in space and you're in
Like
the
Ellen.
giant room. Yeah, it's a
Like
turntable.
how awesome
yeah.
Ellen was.
Yeah.
The best ride ever. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But you have to take cues from the best ride ever if you want to create something just as good.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But and then they have cast members in the in character in outfits like they're working on the ship, and then they get you on these little transports. And I also saw too. Did you guys see? And this was not in my rundown, but there was.
Of course, it wasn't.
Apparently, apparently, someone took a picture of like the warning sign at Disneyland, and it actually states that there's a sharp drop in this ride.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, and there was a rumor out there that basically that the ride vehicle was going to drop almost like Tower of Terror style, like not like drop.
You mean like Verbolten?
Yeah, just like drop. Yeah, like exactly, like drop
been on
straight
Verbolten?
down. I have not because I haven't been to that
Why
park.
do you keep saying yes then?
What are you talking about? No, I know what you're talking about because I know of Verbolten. Yes.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, do you know? At least I would hope you know what I'm talking about.
I'm a theme park enthusiast,
yes
Damon. I know about Verbolten.
Okay. Yes, that would be something I could see. That actually would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Man, going on that for the first time for Bolton was an experience like no other. And you live in North Carolina if you've never been on Verbolten? Oh, that's right. You're a roller coaster wuss. I forgot. That's my fault.
But so this is different though. This is a dark ride, and we really haven't seen that in a dark ride. You know, you have Dinosaur where it goes down a hill, but it's not like a straight down drop. So that's going to be interesting to see.
Well, they said steep drop. That doesn't mean straight down either, though.
That's true.
And what's interesting about Verbolten is that that's actually, I wouldn't say a steep drop because that's actually a drop, like a straight up and down drop.
That's what this is supposed to be, supposedly. That's what the rumor is.
Well, and see, it's interesting because it was the word steep used in the official or just in what we've heard?
This is what we've heard.
Okay, yeah, because when I hear the word steep, it does not take me to what Verbolten is. Verbolten is something that goes... Yeah, and it's not a straight down. It's so you're horizontal, and then you just drop down a level.
Yeah.
Which to me, you cannot stick the word steep in there at all, right? That's a different sort of drop, right? If we're going to get really technical here.
We're going to get technical about it?
Yeah.
I'm hung up on, I'm imagining the drop in Pirates of the Caribbean. Like, it's not a steep drop, but it's like, you know.
That's true. Disney does tend to over-warn people, right? You know, they'll say like, and Soarin' has like sudden drops and stuff like that. And it really doesn't, you know, but I get why they do that, obviously. But, you know, so that could be the case. It's just the rumor was that it was, you know, you're eventually going to end up at the top of this gigantic show building that they've built for this. And then at some point you're going to come crashing down, basically.
With parachutes? Everyone just has to put on parachutes and jump down?
That's what's going to happen.
Ever.
Yeah. I'm trying to find the picture and see what it exactly says. I don't see it.
And I do see the point too, because like for myself, and I think for most of us here, you know.
Well, if there's a steep drop, is Tom even on it? Does Tom even go on it?
I'll do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
I mean, that's the thing. For me, it's like, oh, you know, that's fine. You know, that's not a steep drop. That's no big deal. But, you know, for someone like my wife who is more sensitive to things like that, I can see why they would be very, you know, like emphasizing it because, like, for my wife, that could be a day ruiner. So
sure, yeah.
Wouldn't that be an interesting process of like, hey, you know, we're gonna have Star Wars, and there's gonna be so many people that want to go on it, but we're gonna make this a hell of a ride that people are gonna be like, nope, not even gonna go on it. Love Star Wars, can't go on it.
Okay, It says a swift drop.
Ooh, now see, Swift could bring me back to Verbolten. That could bring me back to a Verbolten thing. Here's the thing, though. So what I find interesting about Verbolten is that I've tricked people. Well, I don't say that, but I've tricked people to going on Verbolten, right? Because I'm like, dude, this is the best ride ever. And it was awesome, right? But, like, they take that drop and, like, their day is ruined. And I go, oh, well, it's really cool, though. Yeah, it's great. Thanks, thanks for making me go on that. But, like, Swift, to me, means quick, right? It doesn't have any, you know, designation of angles to it. So if it's a Verbolten type drop, like kind of like, I guess they mimic that in the Spider-Man ride at Universal as well. I think that would be kind of neat. But like Trevor said, wow, I've been gone so long.
I forgot the name of your co-host.
I forgot the name of my co-host. As Trevor said, that, you know, that might put people off.
It could. And so what the sign, and this came out too, because there's a height restriction of 40 inches. And so it says, join us on an exhilarating mission to stop the First Order. This mission includes rapid motion, sudden stops, sharp turns, and a swift drop as you evade capture from the First Order. And the article here says, guests will experience a drop towards the end of the attraction. The drop will reportedly simulate an escape pod blasting off, taking guests in their transport swiftly back down to the planet of Batu. So, and it says, we're not talking a drop of the height of Tower of Terror here, but at least most of the height of the fairly large show building that houses the ride. That's from WDWNT again. But I don't know. That could mean a lot of things. So I'm still excited about this ride. It looks amazing. I mean, like some of the effects they're going to pull off in this, you know, they're talking hundreds of stormtroopers, you know, that are animatronic, like, you're talking about like the details in this ride looks incredible. I mean, they just look incredible. It looks like you're on a ship in space. I mean, and you know, it's trackless, so you never know where you're going to end up. You know, these giant AT-ATs, right? Or, AT-AT, whatever. I don't care what they're called. Just
we've been over this.
We've been over this before. But those giant, that one picture that's on there of guests just looking up at those things, and they're saying that they're going to be able to, one of the effects people said that they figured out a way to make the blasters visible. So like when they're blasting shots at you, it'll actually look like it's blasting shots at you. That's incredible. I can't wait to see that,
Yeah, it's I think the worst part about this is just, waiting to see what it actually is, because if you think about it, they've done a really good job of keeping this under wraps. Like,
oh yeah, no leaks. Like really not many. You really haven't heard too many leaks about it.
Well, and even just the contrast between the two rides is like, for the longest time everyone was like, oh, the Millennium Falcon, that's the ride. I can't wait to ride the Millennium Falcon. And now it's like it wasn't until the press got a hold of the Rise of the Resistance that all of a sudden everyone's starting to go, oh, maybe this will be the ride that I actually want, right? Like it. Well, I think part of it too is that everyone's, I personally, I feel a little burned by Navi River Cruise.
Even though Damon loved it?
Well,
that's disrespectful.
Only because of the fact that...
That's disrespectful, Travis. That is, I don't care for that.
Okay, Devin.
He's going to call you Travis from now on.
Okay. Only when I don't like what he says.
Well, then I will call you Devin. And,
I love Navi River Ride. You guys are crazy.
I like Devin. I liked it too. I just wish it was longer.
It didn't, like... If I put that next to Flight of Passage, like, Flight of Passage gets me emotional. Navi River Cruise, doesn't. I'm sorry, but it just it doesn't.
I don't think you're going to have that problem with this ride, though. This ride looks like it's. The rumor now is that it's a 28-minute ride time.
Yeah,
that's even if it's 15 minutes, it's still long by attraction standards. That's it's no Ellen, which was 45 minutes, but
they're shooting for a high bar there.
Oh, sure. No, that's true. But just based on the size of the show building itself, I feel like you're going to be through this building quite a bit. It does seem like it's going to be a pretty long experience from what I can tell.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's, I feel like we've talked about the rides a lot, but there's a lot of other stuff going on that
I know
that has kind of been overlooked, I think. Like even, so one of the other things that you put in the rundown here was, so the Play Disney Parks app,
yep.
It will allow for guests to interact with the droids, take jobs, hack and translate things throughout Batu or throughout Galaxy's Edge, which, that's, I know, like I tried to use the Play Disney Parks app when I was there last time. And honestly, I kind of forgot about it when I was there. I wish I'd actually done more with it, but that to me is, this is, again, the overall experience of Star Wars Land. Like, you don't even have to actually get on the rides to necessarily get the experience that you want. Or well, I shouldn't say, well, to get that Star Wars experience. Like, doing stuff with the droids and all that, like that's kind of unprecedented.
Cool.
As far as, like it seems to me like this will be, I saw at Harry Potter, or at Hogwarts and all that, like you can get, they sell the wands there, right? Yeah, and the wands are used throughout the park. Like it's not or I guess it's kind of like the cards, the Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom at Magic Kingdom. But this sounds like it's going to be even more interactive than that, because if you're doing stuff on your phone, like it's not like you have to go somewhere to do these things, right? Like it's it feels a lot more natural, I guess. It's not like, go here, stand here, wait for this thing, right? And
you don't have to buy anything. You can just download the app and then you can interact with the land. We were wondering how they were going to manage this whole reputation thing and all this, and it turns out it's through an app that already existed. That I truly believe that they built this app a while ahead of time for this purpose, and made it do other things for the meantime. But I think that they were planning way ahead for this.
I feel that this app is going to, like, for a lot of the new stuff coming up, this app is going to hinge a lot of the additional experience on top of the rides. Like, I think they've realized, that the fact that most people have phones, why would you not capitalize on that, right?
It makes total sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and truthfully, it's better than, I feel like they've been kind of trying to replace like the interactive queues with the Play Disney Parks app, which is not, a terrible thing, because those things end up, breaking, and also people get caught in line because they're playing with those things. I never know what the proper etiquette is. If somebody in front of me is playing at that, like, the thing on Seven Dwarfs, do you walk by them? Do you wait for them to finish? Like, I think you walk by them personally, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, I mean, if you stop in the queue, I've done that. People will stop and they're like, oh, go ahead. But yeah, if they're busy doing something else, it's kind of like, sorry, you can
you could stay there. I'm gonna go past you. But that's an aside. But I think this is really smart of them to do, and I think it's really cool that you'll be able to interact with everything using your phone. I mean, it's gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. And actually, even the comparison of the in ride or in queue entertainment versus the Play Disney Parks app. One of the things that I did get to do was I actually tried using it inside of Space Mountain. So, because Space Mountain used to have the little mini games where you shoot the asteroids, right? And they had all the stations set up. Or sorry, you've never been in there, so you don't know what I'm talking.
I know what you're talking
about. Yeah. So for everyone else that's not Tom, they had these kiosks in there, and that was exactly the problem. Is, in the standby queue, there's all these people, watching the games and whatever, and you would get these big gaps where people would forget about what, hey, you're lining up for this ride, right? So it kind of slowed things down more than it should have, I think. With the app now, so I did get a chance to try it. Is that you set it up to your party, so you put in however many players. And then it's a combination of things. So like one, you do like a little bit of the space shooter thing on your phone, but then also they have you looking for things in the queue. So they've got like little symbols and stuff that you have to find and kind of do a scavenger hunt, which that, like me and my son did it. And I felt that kept him far more interested than, playing a space shooter game for a couple of minutes and then being forced to, okay, you're done, go on to the next thing, right? Like we actually went all the way up to the front of the queue, doing like looking for symbols on the wall and trying to do all this stuff, right? Like it held our interest a lot longer and really took the weight out of the queue. But again, that's just talking about the queue. So going back to this app, the idea is that even outside of the queue, this app is, like there will be things around the park that you can do, and you can poke at things and get droids to do interactions that you wouldn't necessarily see, which again that just further takes it into making it a more personal experience, right? Like it's having them react to you directly versus just standing there being one of many people in the crowd watching a show. Like you feel that that droid did that because I hacked into his system or whatever, right? Like
yeah, no, that's amazing. I totally agree. I love it. I think it's very cool.
Yeah.
I was wondering how they were going to do this, and I think it makes perfect sense. So what about merch? How do we feel about the merch? I love saying merch. I don't know why, even though everyone probably hates me for it. I'm cool with it. But I love the idea of building your own droid out of parts and also being able to build your own lightsaber too.
Well, and so here's the thing. Building your own lightsaber has been a thing for a long time.
That's true.
It sounds like they've changed it, or they've gone to that next level of build your own lightsaber, I guess. So my son has built lightsabers. We've got like 4 or 5 different ones around the house, and they're better than the ones you get at Walmart. I will say that much. Like it's 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 got the sound effects and everything. You can customize the color of the blade. You can put all the different grip pieces on and stuff like that. So you can make them. You can either make it look exactly like Darth Maul's saber, or you can make it unique to yourself. Which I think that's pretty nice, and they've definitely, you know, done that even outside of the parks. Like, you can buy, you know, lightsaber parts and everything. But it sounds like they're making this into like the same kind of thing as the
Banshees.
The Banshees, or I was going to say even like the wands.
The wands, yeah,
the wands at Hogwarts, because you know you pick your wand and there's kind of a bit of a ceremony to it. It sounds like they're doing the same thing with these new lightsabers that they're building, but they also don't, like, I don't know, like when I look at them, it's like, you know, they look nice, but would it be something that I would want to, you know, pay for my kid to buy, and then, you know, it's kind of too nice to use, I guess.
Like, it's gonna be like a metal handle, or it's gonna be, you know, like super yeah, I know what you mean. It's not gonna be like all plastic. It's gonna be so nice that you don't want to play with it.
Hey, you don't want them swinging it around because, you know, it'll like break or something like that. I don't know. I'm curious how that's gonna all flesh out, because again, when they said that initially, I was like, well, you can already build a lightsaber. What's the big deal? Like, it's yeah. It has to be something. I'm trying to find the right word. Not new, not. I don't know. It has to be something unique that I guess I couldn't already do with the previous ones. So. Yeah,
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I like the idea of building your own droid, though, too. Especially, I don't know what that's going to look like. I mean, but it sounds like they're saying, like, it can't be like a working thing. It can't be something that's actually going to not walk around, but, like, you know, at least roll around or anything like that. I can't imagine that's what you're going to be able to do, I guess.
It could be a little remote control thing. There used to be a place in Disneyland. Sorry, I think I just put Damon completely to sleep.
Damon's gone. He's out.
Yeah,
dude, I'm Facebooking at this point.
You don't care. See, I thought you'd be interested in the whole build a droid or build a lightsaber.
Build a droid sounds dumb. I mean, that just sounds dumb. The lightsaber. The problem is that I think it's going to be somewhere in the middle ground of garbage, but not so cool like the $100 one. So I don't know if I'm interested in that either. Right? Like, if I want a lightsaber, I want like as close to possible as a legitimate lightsaber that I can get. You know, those ones that are like $100 and something. That's what I want. Or I want somebody on Etsy building me one. I mean, what am I going to get at the park?
That's kind of what I think they're doing, though. I think they're going to do super expensive lightsabers from what I've seen. I don't know. I could be wrong.
You think they're going to be metal? You think they're going to be metal-handled, super-duper lightsabers and all customizable?
I mean, this picture they look metal to me.
Where's this picture? Hold on.
I mean, they don't look like cheap plastic to me. I think I saw an article somewhere that said...
Where is this picture that you speak of?
In the first link I sent you.
Okay, because I am not on board with this whole phone nonsense, bullcrap, whatever, at all. Like, I don't want my kids using the phone at all. We're on vacation. Get off your phone, right? Because if I have to give you your phone to play these things and to do this and to do that, all you're going to be doing is being on Instagram and Snapchat. So we put the phones away. So that's my problem there.
With the play app?
Yes.
Yeah, but the difference for me is, so my son doesn't have a phone. And so we're using my phone. But, I carry my phone mainly so I can book fast passes while I'm in line. But then... there's always in between where, you know, we play.
You think these look metal?
So I just pulled up an article. Hold on, I just pulled up an article. It says the realistic looking lightsabers will be $158. So
that doesn't answer my question.
So they're gonna have like a cheap plasticky one, and then they're gonna have like a really nice $160 metal
there, though.
I don't know. They didn't say metal, but wait, no.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. The realistic looking lightsabers sold in Galaxy Edge will have metal hilts, light up blades, and movie like sound effects.
Okay,
so there you go.
All right,
but I mean, I can get that already.
You can, but I guess they're going to make a show out of it, kind of like what they do with the Banshees and they do with like the wands at Harry Potter.
Yeah, it's still it's still a hard sell. Even like I'm with Damon on this one. It's.
The wands do extremely well at Universal. Like, a lot of the times you can't even... Like, you can go get one, but there's... Like, you have to line up before the park opens to be part of that initial, like, wand
ceremony.
thing. I think there's... I think there's a limit to all of that. So, I mean, look, I'm not upset by it. I get it, right? I think that's a good idea. I think that a lot of things, that Disney does, that they're looking at Universal, and a lot of things at Universal, they're looking back and forth and seeing where, people are investing their time and where they're, kind of have log jams. And you're right, the wand ceremony is a log jam, so why not do something similar over at Star Wars? I mean, again, I think that definitely looks good. I think it definitely is something that should be in the park. Am I personally excited by it? No, I am not going to buy one for that price. But I understand how people would, and I think it's a good idea. I am not, and now that you said that they're metal, then that changed my tune a little bit. I'm on board with that.
All right.
But yeah, again, that also changes it from, like I said, my kids built lightsabers, and that's the cheap plastic one. If I'm going to take him to build one of these nice metal lightsabers, it's going to be okay, that's very nice. No, you're not swinging this around. Like,
yeah. I don't know. See, now that Trevor can't talk now, this is even better because now I can talk. And he can't respond to me when I say that. I don't agree with that. I think if you're going to Disney, I think at that price point, it's still a toy, not a collectible, right? I think that a collectible would be something that I cannot go and get, 365 days out of the year. And just like a Banshee, I don't consider that collectible unless they're telling me that there's going to be specific parts that are only available one time only, or a specific Banshee color is a one time only, right? So I look at it differently. I get that there's a higher price point, but you're in Disney. You're on vacation. Everything is going to be a higher price point. I'm okay with swinging it around. So I'm on board with that. Even though it's a little bit nicer, I'm still okay with it being a toy. Trevor, the house isn't burning down, right?
No, my wife seems to do this every time I podcast.
Okay. Besides
funny.
cook fish in oil or something that is just
I
think, up a lot.
I think she made bacon or something.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I mean, at least she's making something delicious.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true. So I mean, I don't know. Like as I was saying, Trevor, which I'm sure you heard me, even though you couldn't talk to us about it. I'm okay with that price point, with flipping it all around and playing with it and all that good stuff. I'm okay with that.
All right. Well, we're coming up to a pretty long podcast here, so we got one more thing on here. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about before we move on to this last thing? It's still Star Wars Land related.
Yeah. Let's cover
Let's
it.
talk.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
I want to predict that Damon's going to be super into this if this is the case.
Yes.
Okay, so there's a rumor that Disney is considering selling FastPass for rides at Galaxy's Edge specifically. So this is, again, courtesy of WDWNT. They're saying that
Full-on rumor.
Yeah, that no decision has been made as of yet, but Disney is leaning towards the sale of Fast Passes to skip the lines at Star Wars Rise of the Resistance and Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run at Galaxy's Edge at both parks. According to sources, the concept is being, quote, heavily considered by management. So Disney hasn't said anything about this yet, and they were asked about it by the media outlets, and they said nothing. So
yeah, it's definitely a rumor at this point. But if it was to be, it depends what we're talking about price wise. That's really what it comes down to. So let me factor in my head. What would I pay to not stand on? Right? I look at it as a simple equation. What's my time worth? Right? Like,
Yep.
So what do we consider? Rope drop, right? Because I'm gonna if I have to talk about this, I have to talk about what I think rope drop line is going to be, because I can always rope drop. I'm always up. I don't care. Rope drop's easy for me. So, and I can rope drop 2 days because I'm never at Disney for just 1 day. So, all right. So at rope drop, I probably have to get there. What are we calling? Half an hour before the park opens. Right now, I'm not talking about the first week. Let's take that.
You're talking about maybe like 6 months in or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Let's call it between 4 and 6 months in.
Yeah.
All right. So I got a rope drop. So how early will I be there? Half an hour before the park opens. Cool. So I already gave myself 30 minutes. Now, I don't run during rope drop because you're not supposed to. People get hurt. It's not worth it. It is still only a ride. So there'll be 1 million people running by me. I will be speed walking, right? And that will be good enough. And what happens when I get there? Usually when I rope drop, I feel like I'm at about an hour or so, right? Does it seem about right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be the person that rope drops into the first one on it. It just almost never happens. But I'm going to give it an hour and a half. So I'm going to call it all around a 2-hour difference of time. Okay? For me, and this is just for me personally, based on rope drop.
And that's dedicated to just this experience, right? Like,
yes.
You're dedicating 2 hours of your time to
just
the
rope
ride.
drop this. Okay, and I feel like that is probably the lowest number you will see unless you get super lucky or have a fast pass or have something else. I don't think you're going to beat a 2-hour time frame during the day outside of rope drop. Maybe at the end of the night, but I'm not doing that. It's too late for me anyway. So, all right, so what is this worth to me now for a 2-hour rope drop? I mean, I got to think it's probably worth $200 to me, okay?
Wow.
But there's 5 of us.
Per
When I say
person?
$200, no.
Okay, it's 200 total.
So as a family, so it's worth $200 as a family for me. So that is $40 a ticket. That is my number. That's my personal number. So if Disney's listening, that is my number. I could see between, and I think they're going to be 49. If they decide to do this, I think we're going to get that 49 number. That's what I'm thinking, and that makes it, a decision for me. But it might be a consideration because 2 hours is a long time. If it's $20 to $25, it's not a question. I will fast pass that thing twice. But the number that really gets me moving for one shot is probably $39 per. I think.
I feel like if they do this, it's just going to be a one-shot thing, right? It's not going to be like unlimited because then everyone would buy it.
What I'm saying is that purchasing it. I'm saying purchasing it twice.
Yeah.
Well, and I guess the thought process too is, would they offer, one ride or would it be both the rides?
Like one price for both rides or one for
I think they'll have a tier structure. $39.1.
Yeah.
You get both for, yeah. You get a bit of a discount for getting both or something. I don't know.
I would do $59 for 2 if I couldn't get fast passes, because now you're talking about saving me a whole heck of a lot of time. Again, I'm of the mind that time is money, even if it's at Disney, right? Like, the other thing I'm going to tell you is that a lot of this is going to play into what the queue looks like and how the queue is set up. Okay? I think that because Rise of the Resistance is going to be a long ride. Listen, the best thing about Ellen is that even before the ride started, I had to sit on the floor. That was awesome, right? So I was okay with that. Like, even if I was there 20 minutes early, I think the queue will make this dependent. I don't know if Disney's going to do this. I'll be honest with you, this is definitely a rumor. I'm not 100% sure. I would see them. See, here's my thing. I see them more saying, "Hey, we're going to keep Star Wars open late at night for dessert party for this, just Star Wars, right? We're going to do this, that, and the other thing and charge more, and then you can ride the rides like, Moonlight Magic, but just for Star Wars, right? So forget about keeping the whole park open, just a Star Wars thing. That seems more in line of what Disney would do.
I don't disagree.
I don't know, man. I see them doing it.
So what do you think will be the price then?
I mean, I don't think you're far off. I think you're in the ballpark. I mean, I don't think you're wrong either about the upcharge event. I don't think that could definitely be a way that they do it that makes it more palatable, because just going like, hey, we're going to sell fast passes for $50 a person, that's going to make so many people angry. Even though they already pretty much do this at Disneyland anyway with Max Pass, right? I mean, it's different, but
it's like $10 for the day for all your fast passes though.
And I don't see it being that low of a price.
Yeah. But again, totally different demographics and everything between.
Yeah.
I guess, I'm kind of with Damon on this one that, if they, put it out to me, here's $40 or $50 for fast passes, I would jump on that. And my reasoning is a little bit different though. It's not so much a matter of time is money. It's more a matter of managing my own stress level. Because for me personally, I don't do crowds. And I know you're all probably going, what? Because I go to Disney. But I do things in such a way that I don't, like, if there's too many people around me, my enjoyment level, like, regardless of what's going on, I just become unhappy because there's just too many other people. And it I can't even quite explain it.
I get it.
It almost fries my, like...
It's anxiety.
Yeah.
It's crowd anxiety.
Totally.
I get it.
Yeah, because I'm one of these people that I'm always, like, trying to be aware of everybody around me. Like, I'm always thinking about, if there's somebody behind me and all that. And if there's too many people, it just, like, I just fry. Like, I just can't deal with it. We actually, this weekend, my wife and I went to, there was a Home and Garden Expo like downtown, and we went there, and we were there for like maybe 45 minutes. And my wife said she actually noticed, like, as we were going, that I started to get really grumpy because there was just so many people, and there was like constantly people bumping into me and all that. And so, you know, for me, you know, to pay for the option of not having to, you know, rope drop or anything like to get that, you know,
rope drop has got to be really tough for you then, if that's the case.
So funnily enough, we don't actually end up doing rope drop, and most of that has to do with the time zone change, because it's 2 hours earlier for us that we don't get there for rope drop, because it like biologically, you know, trying to get me up at 6 o'clock in the morning doesn't work. So
I could see that.
Yeah. So yeah, but like, yeah. So outside of rope drop, like, even if I force myself to do rope drop, that's just another thing is, you know, now I'm super tired because, you know, I'm like, things are kind of out of whack with sleep schedule now. And I'm trying to deal with, you know, a large amount of people and to get my family through to where I need to be to get on to the ride. So all of those things, again, this is a personal thing for me, is that, like, yeah, if they offered me a golden ticket to get on the ride, I wouldn't hesitate very much. And I think I would even go a bit higher than you, Damon, again, for all the reasons that I listed, is that, you know, the trade-off of, you know, enjoying my day overall and knowing that I can just get on the ride at, you know, my fast pass time that I paid for is worth the trade-off to me.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah,
it
makes sense. It makes total sense. Well, it'll be interesting to see if they actually do this or not. I will be interested. I mean, I don't know. I think, and I also think I'll be interested to see what they do with the tier system at Hollywood Studios once this park opens too. It's not an issue in Disneyland, but it'll be interesting to see what they do with the tier system at Hollywood Studios. My assumption is they're going to go the Magic Kingdom route and eliminate the tiers, because it's just going to be too hard. I mean, maybe they'll just make one tier of just the Star Wars rides. I don't know. But yeah, we'll find out.
If you think about it, there's more tier ones there than there are overall rides after Star Wars Land opens.
That's exactly right. Like, what do you do? How would you like? They can't make all of the good. Like, they can't make Rock and Roller Coaster, Tower of Terror, the Star Wars rides, and, you know, they can't make all of those rides tier 1. That would really mess with everybody. But anyway, so I don't know. I'm interested in this. I think this is kind of interesting if they do decide to do it. But I could also see there being quite a backlash for it too. But I think we'll just have to wait and see, right?
Yeah. And so someone refresh my memory. When Toy Story Land opened up, didn't they have after hours events for that? It was for the first couple of months, wasn't it?
They had like a pass holder thing that they did.
Is that what it was?
They also had extended hours, I think, for a while, right?
Yeah, they did like the thing when Pandora opened, where they kept it open till like late every night.
Right. Okay. So
extra magic hours.
Yeah. I mean, I think you'll see that again for the first couple of months, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they do like a VIP. Maybe that's what, or well, you know, if they do extra magic hours at Disney after hours, then.
So I wonder though. So I have to ask this because again I haven't been on all these past episodes. So, you know, my friend who I've had this discussion with before, you know, the ones that we go away with, is like thinks that it's going to be open when we go on Thanksgiving, and I keep on telling her there's absolutely no way. We have heard nothing yet. But like your gut tells you what? I don't think this thing is going to be open Thanksgiving.
Well, so Disney went from saying late fall to just saying fall. And so a lot of people are reading into that maybe it's going to open a little earlier than everyone's thinking, but I don't know if that actually means anything or if they just didn't decide to say late that time. I don't know, man. I think it could be possible. I guess it just depends on where they are in the construction process. They seem like they're a little ahead. I don't know.
The question is, do I want it to be open in the fall? I can't see them having it open during a holiday like that. Like, you have Thanksgiving already, you have it packed already, and then on top of that, you tag on, you know, Star Wars. Really?
Well, did you see Bob Iger recently said it's like they're not even going to market for this? He's just going to send out a tweet and say it's open.
Oh no, that would be fun.
Which he was joking, but he's right though. They don't really need to do marketing for this thing. It markets itself. I mean,
yeah.
But I don't know.
She just keeps on thinking that, and I keep on saying is that I'd rather go back in the summer, than have to deal with it at Thanksgiving. Since I've never really been there for Thanksgiving, nor have I ever seen the Christmas decorations. If you, we're only going for like 4 days. If you put Star Wars in there,
oh my gosh,
oh man,
it's gonna blow up.
That's
your
not
whole
a
trip.
vacation.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? It becomes not a vacation. It's a job, and I will take it like a job, but it will be a job.
Yeah,
that
blows up
trumps,
your whole trip.
It trumps everything, right? Like you kind of forgo everything else just for that. Like even for us, we're there in November as well. And our goal,
you're there earlier than me though, right?
We are. We'll be there, like a week and a half before you.
Okay.
And I mean, our focus is the Christmas parties, like going to Magic Kingdom and all that. But there is this thought in the back of my head, if Star Wars Land is open, we're going to go to Hollywood Studios. But it becomes a question of, do I even bother this trip? Do I even?
Well, when are you going again?
I don't know yet. It'll be sometime next year, but can I wait a year for it? Yeah, I think I can.
Tom,
wait a year.
You're going in June, right?
Yeah,
I'm going in June, and I'm going in October.
So you're definitely not going to see it, and then
Probably
after
not.
that, you don't know what you're doing.
No, I don't know what I'm doing in 2020, but I am hopeful by October that the Minnie and Mickey rides open, and the gondolas are open at that point, because gondolas look pretty close to almost being. I mean, they're testing them, but I don't know. I'm hoping that stuff is open by when I go in October, but I don't think Star Wars is going to be open.
This is going to be like kind of disappointing for all of us, because no one, like, it's possible that no one's really there until, gosh, because if I go
like
in November
after,
yeah, and that's like, man, we're bad podcasters if that's the case.
I'll tell you this: I'm getting annual passes this time around, and I'm getting those for June. So we'll probably do an early year trip next year to take advantage of the annual passes. So we'll probably do something in the first, before June of next year to take advantage of those annual passes.
But how does that going to work with your wife and school?
We'll figure that out.
like spring break or something like that.
She's at a year-round school, so her schedule's a little different. So she gets
what track does she get off?
What I don't know.
Like so she's at a year-round school, right?
Yeah.
So they do like where there's different tracks, or just that there's one track. It's just that they go all year round.
They just go all year round, and then like every 9 weeks they get 2 weeks off or something like that. So
okay, there's not different sets of students getting different. Okay, because that's like what we have here, where there's 4 different tracks of year round.
Oh yeah, no, we don't have that.
Okay,
but yeah,
gotcha.
So that's why we're going in October this year. This is the first time we can go in October because she actually has time off in October, which never happened before. So,
gotcha.
So that's why we're excited about this year. So.
Are you doing the Halloween party? I know it's one.
Don't do it.
Yeah, we haven't decided that yet.
It's a waste of money.
Oh, come on, the
Save your
parade.
money.
I know you don't like parades, but I love that parade. It's wicked.
Is that parade worth that much money though?
I'm gonna wait.
it.
I'm gonna wait for my daughter to be a little older, I think.
Yeah, that's fair.
She's only going to be a year and a half when we go in October, so I think I'm going to
That
wait.
might just plan out scare her, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's true. I think we might wait until she's a little bit older.
If she's anything
and
like
can
you,
enjoy
I
it
mean.
On that note, let's wrap this up.
Yeah, we're good.
Damon, do you want to wrap it up since you haven't done it in a while?
No, I'll let Trevor go.
We'll let Trevor
right.
do it? Okay.
Okay, guys. So, yeah, as usual, welcomehomepodcast@gmail.com. We're getting the emails. We will keep asking you guys for emails because, yeah, obviously, like at the beginning of the episode, we love, reading your questions, talking about them, even just, having conversations with you guys about things you're doing with Disney stuff. So keep them coming. We do have a website. Maybe it will be updated the next time you check it.
That's just a lie.
That's
a lie.
Well,
it's probably not true.
Someone could be listening to this, 3 months from now, and
that sounds right then. Yeah, that sounds about right.
So yeah, welcomehomepodcast.com. You can go check it out, and maybe, like I said, you never know. One day it'll be updated.
Someday.
Yeah. And yeah, so like Tom said earlier, if you guys have anything you want us to talk about, if you got questions, or if you got a particular subject, part of the park you want us to talk about, whatever, send those things our way. It gives us an idea of what you guys are interested in, and gives us things to talk about on this. And as usual, even if you don't want to email us, you can find us on Facebook at Welcome Home Podcast. We are on Twitter and Instagram, but really those are just feeding stuff from our Facebook. So yeah,
or when we're actually in the park.
Yeah. That all goes through Facebook usually, or at least for myself. I don't know about when you guys are there, but like us on Facebook, follow, shares, all that stuff is cool. And yeah, we've had some great conversations over Facebook with some of our listeners that we love seeing that too. So keep them coming,
Who's our
guys.
biggest fan?
We've got a couple.
Yeah, there's a few.
Yeah. Well,
There's
one of these
definitely
days
a
we'll
few.
call out all the people that email us and message us all the time.
Yeah, I guess that's something, I'm sure people have noticed that, we tend to keep it on a first name basis. And I think that part of that is, for me personally, I don't want to, start, calling people out because, I mean, for myself, I like, some
Anonymity.
Privacy, right? Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess, tell us what you guys think. Do you want us to call you out by your full names or what, right? So
We can.
Yeah.
So I think you finished your part, right, Trevor?
Yeah, I think I covered everything.
Okay, great. So don't forget to subscribe to Welcome Home Podcast so you can be reminded every time we release a new episode. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, just about anywhere you can find podcasts, you can find us. Search for Welcome Home. There are a couple other Welcome Homes out there.
Yeah, we did find that out recently.
We found that out the hard way. But
Yeah.
yeah, so there's at least two other ones. So just, look for the one that's Disney oriented. Once we get our new logo, you'll be able to recognize us even better. But just a reminder to our listeners, Welcome Home Podcast is for entertainment only. We are not employed by the Walt Disney Company, and as such, any and all opinions we express on the show are our own. So please consult a Disney cast member, a DVC representative for anything we talked about on the show today. Big thank you to DVC Resale Market for sponsoring this episode. As always, please go check them out. And join us next time for more Disney Parks discussion. Of course, more DVC talk. We hope to see you all real soon. And welcome back, Damon.
Thank you.
At least for this episode.
Just for this episode.
This is Skipper Albert AWOL, the voice of the jungle, signing off from Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
We do a huddle when we hit a chair. How she can cuddle is no man's affair. I looked around from pole to pole, found her in a sugar bowl. Look out!